Hello everyone, welcome to our next video on function, which is an hands-on code walkthrough session in Jupyter Notebook. In previous video on functions, we discussed all the underlying concepts, and now it is time to put these concepts into practice. We'll try writing functions to do a variety of a specific task. Let us start with one simple function that we will call number swapper. And in this particular case, our objective is to write a program that has a user-defined function to accept two numbers as parameter. If number 1 is less than number 2, in that particular case, the numbers are swapped and returned. What task we have here? Create a Python program that defines a function swap numbers, number 1, number 2, to swap two numbers if number 1 is less than number 2. What is the expected output here? The program should print the swapped numbers if number 1 is less than number 2. Otherwise, it should print the original numbers. So now is the time where you can stop this video and try writing this code on your own. Once done, you can come back and again play this video from here on. Okay, let us start coding it out. So how you will write a function? You will start with keyword def, and then we will be having identifiers for the name of the function, which has been suggested as swap numbers, and then this is having two parameters, number 1 and number 2. Semicolon enter. Now you are actually inside the body of the function. What is the ask here? If number 1 is less than number 2, then we have to swap the numbers, right? So if number 1 is less than number 2, what we have to do? We have to swap the numbers. And you know how to do it? You can simply do xy is equal to yx, right? Fine. And if number 1 is not less than number 2, then there is no issue. So we could have also, since we have changed it, right? So we can simply return number 1, number 2. Part of this is also saying that write a program that has a user-defined function to accept two numbers as parameter. If number 1 is less than number 2, the numbers are swapped and returned. Create a Python program that defines a function to swap two numbers if number 1 is less than number 2. Okay. Now you can have two scenarios. You have number 1 is 10. You can have number 2 as 20. And then let us see what you get when you call print of swap numbers, number 1 and number 2. So since number 1 is less than 10, number 1 is less than number 2, you get them swapped. Now you can change it. Say your number 1 is 100 and number 2 is 20. So it should print in order, as you might see. If you have not been able to see the output, I will actually show you again. So output in case of your Jupyter notebook will be printed below the uh, execution, below the cell, right? So what we can do here, if you have not seen it, we can actually execute this code for you again, right? So since number 1 is greater than number 2, the numbers are not changed, but if you change this, you can see the numbers are getting swapped. Fine, great. Let's move ahead to the second number, which is about Fibonacci sequence, right? Now, in case of Fibonacci sequence, and you might have, uh, had several examples in your math classes, if you have taken those. Uh, After factorial, Fibonacci is the next most popular sequence, right? And what it does, every number in the sequence is a sum of previous two numbers. So what will be typical Fibonacci sequence? 1 1, right? And then you can actually take the uh, sum of last two from there on. So objective here is write a program to generate the Fibonacci X sequence. What is the task that you are having? Create a Python program that defines a function Fibonacci n to generate the Fibonacci sequence up to the nth term. What is the expected output here? The program should print the Fibonacci sequence up to the nth term, right? So again, what you can do is you can stop the video here and open your ID notebook, whatever you are following through, and try solving it. Once done, you can come here and then we will actually code Fibonacci. Okay. How we will start here? Define, and then a function name is suggested to you. Fibonacci, and then up to how many numbers. You may calculate Fibonacci similar to factorial, but a very simple computation of all the numbers might be prohibitive. So we'll start with a trick where we'll start with the first two numbers, right? And then from here on, we can set up a loop where we'll say that while n is greater than 0, right? What we can do in this Fibonacci sequence, right? We can append what? Fibonacci sequence of n minus 1, right? As well as Fibonacci sequence of n minus 2, right? With every computation, right, you can subtract 1. So the next time So let us, we can actually set this up, right? We can, hmm. So we can set this up in several ways, right? Um, Rather than setting on this, we can actually set it up on length of Fibonacci sequence itself, right? So as long as this will be less than n, right? So in that way, why we are doing it this way is we want to take the last two numbers, right? And how to get the last two numbers? By taking -1 and -2, right? So always from the end, you can get the last two numbers like this, and then you don't have to, once done, you can simply return your Fibonacci sequence. You can test with say n is equal to 10, and then you can call print of Fibonacci n, right? So you can see 1 1 2 3 5 8 13 21 34 55, right? So except the first two numbers, all other numbers are sum of the previous two. 1 plus 1 2, 1 plus 2 3, 2 plus 3 5, right? So this is a very important trick where you initialize the first two values, and then we went ahead for uh, generating it. Now here if you see, even if you are having hundreds of numbers, there wouldn't be any issue, right? You can simply generate, even you can generate thousands, right? 10,000s. Uh, so now actually with 10,000, some of the numbers are cheating. That is fine because already you have started seeing much larger numbers. Okay, let's keep it short and simple, just till 10. So the next exercise is about divisibility checker. Again, we'll read through this problem statement, right? And we expect you to read through it and then stop the video, try solving it yourself, and then come back and see how we have solved it. So this exercise is about divisibility checker. Objective: write program to check the divisibility of a number by 7 using a user-defined function. What is the task here? Create a Python program that defines a function, check divisibility number to check if the input number is divisible by 7. What is the expected output here? The program should print whether the input number is divisible by 7 or not. So how you'll go about it? What is the meaning of divisibility by 7? If you take modulo 7 and if that is if modulo 7 has no remainder, then this number will be divisible by 7, right? So you can pause this video here, try solving it by yourself, and then you can stay again play. Let us code it out. You find, hopefully by now you'll be actually having enough syntax comfort. That's also one of the idea why we are doing it live. Check divisibility of a given number. What you will do, if number %7 is equal to 0, you can print that the number is divisible by 7. Okay, and then you can have this number out here. Else you can print that the number is not divisible by 7. So to save time, we'll just cut and paste. As you can see, there is no explicit return statement from here. Whatever will be last line of execution, that will be returned. Now say you are going to get your number as integer of input. You are asking user, please enter an int value. Okay, and then you call check divisibility on number. Okay, so let us say 21. So then the number is divisible by 7. Actually, we can actually make it d, because we are inserting uh, integer. Then you can say 22, and then number is not divisible by this. We'll move on to another problem which is kind of quite common, that is the compound interest calculator. Objective here is to write a program that calculates compound interest using a user defined function. What is the task here? Create a Python program that defines a function calculate compound interest or CPI, where you pass on principal, rate, time and n to calculate the compound interest based on the formula CI equal to P into what? 1 plus R divided by N, and then raise that to the power NT for duration, right? So how you get this formula? Correct. So you are simply having your principal into your 1 plus rate by N, right? Exponential to N into time, right? So sometimes this is used in a generic way where you want to use several time during a given duration, right? So you can enter principal, rate, you can ask from user and then implement this. Like we have been doing it earlier, you can pause here and then try and implement yourself. Okay, so define calculate compound interest. Let us call it simply CPI, and then say you are passing it principal, rate, time and n. I'm just taking the shortcut, you can modify it. So what will be your mixed income? That will be your pi into, right? What you'll do, your principal P into what you are having, 1 plus, right? You are going to take R by N, and then you want to exponentiate it to N into T. And you can simply do return MI. You can experiment it using math formulas, right? So say P is 1000, rate of interest is, so let us say 10,000, rate of interest, let us call it 10%, right? Your time, right? Say 10, and say you want to do twice, right? So how you will call it? Print CPI of PRTN. Okay.
महाराज सुतले बड़ा है दे कारी चिकन
Okay. We'll get back to some of your questions that you might be tested in your exam. Observe the following following programs carefully and identify the error. Right? So let us look at the first part of it. Right? What it is saying: define, create text frequency. Right? So we'll actually kind of look at it one by one. So this is actually defining a function, and assume that it is kind of properly indented, right? And then it is calling create file. Okay. So for I in this range, you want to print text. So what are the issues that you see here? Can you just look at it and see what are the issues that you can find here? So we'll pause for a minute and see that, so what all is happening here? You are simply calling by providing a number to your frequency. There is no text, right? So that's the first error. That's what that you'll see here, right? Missing parameter in call to print, right? So this is also, you have to kind of keep your text inside a parenthesis, right? And create is missing one required positional argument frequency, right? So typically what you might have meant is your text is quarterly. Let us take a random text. Now what it will do, it will print that as many time. There could be another issue what you intended, right? If you intended to print only from one frequency, that's fine. Otherwise, you have to actually kind of keep it 1 plus 1 as well. Okay. Let's look at the second one. From math, import a square root and ceiling. Then you are having a function called define, calculate, and here you are calling print of cos theta. Can you find out the issue here? Calculate is called correctly. Since you are if we have imported only a square root and ceiling, right? Cos might not be accessible to you, right? So other than the print part that will correct it here, your cos theta is also not. So what you have to do here, you have to add cos, right? Cos 0 is 1. Okay. Okay. What is the next one? Example C, right? Let's look at it. So you are saying that my number is 9. Then you are saying define add 9. Then my number is my number plus 9. Then you are saying that print my number. And then you are calling add 9. So what is the issue that you can expect here? My number is one of the global variable, right? And then you are trying to modify it internally, right? So that's what that it is saying, that your local variable reference before assignment, right? So what is happening here is my number plus 9, right? Which is the global one. So if you are accessing it, the global one, you have to say something like this, right? You have to actually look at the global uh, parameter, right? You have to look at your resolution of data, right? And right, so you have to differentiate between your local and global scope. So here what you needed to do is have a different uh, variable out here, or you provide right kind of resolution. Let us look at the next one. Uh, so value is 1.1, value 2 and value 3. Hope you remember. What is happening here? Your first number, if it is default, then you have to actually give your 2 and 3 default as well, right? That's what the mistake that is happening here. Maybe you have to see that this is 2.2. Maybe that you have to see that this is 3.3, right? And then from here on, it should work. Here, the name is okay. Let's look at the last one, right? Good morning and greet his message, right? Okay. Can you assign, right? That's the way it has been tested is this is returning a message, and to that message you are trying to assign, uh, you know, some other string. What will happen? Cannot assign to the function call, right? Yes. Ideally, it should have been, if you wanted to read good morning, then it could have been your message is equal to greeting, right? Not the other way. So this is the concept of left value, right value, right? From here on, if you want to print message, you can do. Okay, we've covered most of it. The other questions are how math.ceiling is different from math.floor 89.7, right? So what will happen in math.ceiling 89.7? You can import math, right? And then, so what will happen? It will take anything, uh, to above 0.5 to the next one, right? So you'll be having 90. What will happen to your floor? Your floor will take you to the uh, next lower one, right? Which is 89. Out of random and rand init, which functions will be used to generate random numbers between 1 and 5, right? So random will give you, any floating number. Rand int will give you integer. So you should use rand init if you want to. You should use random if you want to get random numbers. Right? How is built-in function power different from function method power? They have different procedures. Using an example, so how a function in Python can return multiple values. We have already seen it, right? So define swap say xy, right? And what we are saying is if x is less than y, then we are saying that return yx, right? Else we are saying that return xy, right? Then what you can do, you can say that whatever is your number, mn is equal to this, right? So you can say that your M is 10, your N is 20, and then you can say that if you print your swap of MN, right, you will get 2010, right? Okay. Differentiate between following with the help of an example argument and parameters. Clear, right? Global and local variable, different scope. Does a function always return a value? Explain the yes, the last line, right? So with this, we have covered broad set of topics around function, and hope you guys have liked it. Please subscribe my channel and like this video. Comment with a specific question. In the next video, we will be covering the three built-in data structures: list, string, and dictionary, and we'll be having follow-on uh, hands-on exercises. Please join next video uh, to see more exam-like questions that will be tested.